Thank you, Margaret. Cloak. I hide my power. In a cloak I hoard as anger. My jaw gears like a charging bull. Hairs horn from my budding forehead. Stick a flame, I bring fresh heat to a room like sun in sky. There is no edge from which to hang your escape. I whore, surrender. Not bad, this giving up. No tit for tat, just a hit in the chest where you slip between heartbeats. Mushroom mouth, don't say I don't share my plumb line. No ledge on which to lay your lost self? Give in to my configuration. Hang on to a happy organ. Be good and be dummy, spewing out of my mouth. Sing sweetly to my spirit level, and you are outside piling logs for relief. Even hunger needs a break. Now let's pretend you're mad again. Committed to a door with no handles, marionette strings sting sharp injections, and you'll keep coming back because I keep you working on your own wreckage. So the poem that I just shared, and as Margaret mentioned, comes from my most recent collection, Her Red Hair Rises with the Wings of Insects. And what began as one glossa turned into a manuscript of glossas, and then a manuscript of deconstructed glossas. And it is dedicated to two poets, P.K. Page for her work with the glossa form, bringing it back to contemporary poetry, her beautiful poems, and Dorothy Malloy, an Irish poet, and her words became the backbone, the 4 lines for each glossa. But even in the deconstruction, her spirit remains. And we lost P.K. in 2010, and we lost Dorothy in 2004, 10 days before her first book came out with Faber and Faber. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. This next poem brings us to Northern Ireland, between his finger and his thumb. The way the sun peeks out from a continent of cloud, a geyser of light that rams the sea and breaks all meaning into knuckling diamonds. He gave me full instructions regarding weather once he knew what I needed to know. Dumb as a round square, I sat there as he sped the car over green hills, the bleating sheep too fat to be clouds, too warm to be snow. We rode through a tunnel of rock blasted to give root each season, like cloud cover over the sea. Always the clouds, even at night. But the moon pushed the bloom of the ivory in waves that rippled less than diamonds, more like the glow of a spotlight we felt when we did what we did, and the round moon entered and took us in, like the sun at an angle, like this he showed me. And I believed him, even though he wore the evidence of ceremony. But what's a band of hollow gold, a ringless moon, or a sun eaten by dark circles? We saw the dark circles. We were the dark circles. But who can see when the night is strung between his finger and thumb and the sky just like that? So I had spicy chicken for dinner, and now I need to drink some water. So excuse me. So this poem takes on the persona of a woman struggling with dementia. The queen is not welcome here. She won't leave, the queen. She is hogging my room, my living room. She is waiting for me to leave my bedroom. And Bobby Orr keeps waiting by the door, tapping his hockey stick, a clock, a trick. Get out. I won't. I cradle myself in my sheets. The blood I am sweating rubs off. I hear the pomp and circumstance playing outside my chair-jammed door. She's hungry now, Her Majesty. I sense it, for the brass is stopped. Her growls slip through the doorway slit, quick pink contractions. I grab for the phone. I holler, I'm coming. But I'm still holding onto my head between the sheets. It hurts even more with this receiver at my ear. They won't leave, I say to my daughter. Hang on, mother, I'm coming over. And the music starts up again to the tapping stick, and the Avenger is waiting in his bowler hat, his brullies a talk to Bobby Orr's tack. What cocktail is Daddy preparing for me? When will my daughter answer the door? I hear my lost youth in her questioning voice. I peek out the front. She is tossing a bag down the garbage chute. I hear the long slide. Say goodbye to the mother. I won't. I can't. The bullied. When I play invisible, the boy sneers. I look away and he's still looking. His gathering of buddies mock me with their yawn traps. You must learn how to look and look back. Can they see me now when I press against the wall as they play Planet of the Apes? I'm the lost thought inside the ocean in Mrs. Easy's atlas. How I'm jarred through the ether is how God made me. We are all icebergs to turn green inside. Clouds hang at half-mast. Another mother is dying. The sun dings yellow until the scream of the recess bell, and I fall in line. Can they see in the stalk of wild fennel the twinkle of my silver buckle? Big feet, they snigger. I feel, dot small. The crayon wave of paper rides the hair of water. The scent of chalk is not home. You pay a price when the cat's got your tongue. Fire in the face, the cinder and spark. So violence against women has been getting a lot of attention in the press, and rightly so. And of course, there's the physical side, but there's also the emotional side as well. And this poem explores that. It's titled Domestic. He sculpts my words with the chisel of his mouth, fits me inside his mind's binding. I do what I'm told to get my playpen back, the edge of no to end each day. What did I do to exit his eyes? Blue blinding marbles detach from the brain that stems them. He won't answer, sits in his fat easy chair. What did I do or what did I do not but wear something pretty? He spits his words in blurry circles, hurls stones of vowels at fields of bruises. Clothes with round edges give too much of me to see. Who you trying to impress? Some fancy man? He's laughing now. You think I'm serious? Just want you to be safe, pet. Blind heart, pack up and run. This poem is titled Thonic, takes us to the underworld. The lilacs have risen to solo in the corner orchestra of greens. Purple odors permeate the branched alveoli of my lungs. I slip through the briars, listen to wind shaking the canopy, stand in place till I'm pulled through the port of entry. I fight, play possum, but my wit leaks as lilacs rust from bone ivory. I hold my breath to tease the light they say is coming, but like the trees, I darken the forest. You must find the hidden passage inside the earth's purse. Chewing worms, burrowing owls, nothing is still, not even my mind turning to brain, a field in fallow. The earth slides over my face. I see the exchange that's happening. A dead mother wants out. Her red hair rises with the wings of insects, and I sink further than the lair of the fox. To the animal he met in the dark. I've often thought about you, how you came in the night, in the middle of the night, to stand on the road for some goddamn reason. How, in the blinding light, you stood as still as branches, like anything trapped. Nothing to see inside the darkened windshield, just the last expression on my drunk father's face. And you, white-tailed beast, reflected, just like that, on your way through your own nocturnal route. I have so often thought about you. Do we have any Tilda Swinton fans in the audience? Okay, yay, a few. So this was her answer when she was asked, where is it you'd like to be buried? In a shallow grave of sand, done up to the nines in a huge flowery chiffon dress, stretched out like a sail on a beach in the Hebrides, pecked to pieces by birds. So you'll hear these lines repeated in this poem titled The Buried. It was actually from my collection prior to Her Red Hair Rises with the Wings of Insects, Winterkill. And it was really the bridge poem that brought me to the glossa form. It's not quite a glossa, but my poems tended to be quite short, and it made me go to the next page, which was quite a feat for me. The Buried. The breeze soothes the summer's burning as it lifts off the lake, but the hot sand holds the white heat, so we burrow our toes to find the cooling. Bury me in a shallow grave of sand. I lie back, and you shovel beach over my pale body. I let the itch of it enter me. It's as if 1,000 insects have taken free rein and clothed me in their stings. I am dressed up to the nines now, a level away from all that I once knew, and when I close my eyes, I become the buried. A cloud passes over in a huge flowery chiffon dress, and the sand is the smell of my new skin. The grainy case of my lungs pumps through homes of crabs. I am the sound of the underneath, stretched out like a sail in a photograph. I am pure verb going nowhere. Even the wind can't move me. The sand bars my body from the water's rise on a beach in the Hebrides where time is carved back. Landlocked to the hours of sand that has no hours, only bones. I'm not afraid of you leaving. I'm only afraid of being pecked to pieces by birds. So continuing in this retro theme, this is a poem from my first book, Pupa, Black Kettles. A leash collie tugs like a kite. Birds tree gather into a bouquet. Up ahead, the dirt road bends as the neck of a swan. Grief is like waiting for 50 giant black kettles to boil. This poem takes us to the classroom setting. It's dealing with a young girl struggling in French class. Its title is My Ear is Lost. My mouth won't ooh the way Mademoiselle wants it to. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Her face bullets to a freckle. I taste her stale croissant on my tongue. Tears take over. They talk for me, sobbing the wrong vowel. How do you feel about the Barbie doll? Good, bad, neutral? Either way, this poem is for you. Peas and Barbies. Make her naked and still she smiles, exposing breasts without nipples. Nipple. We giggled at the word in the secret book where the small arrow pointed. Nipple. We said it at the same time. I made a doll of mashed potatoes with nipple peas on my plate. Take charge and spit, witless move, Nana's looking. Don't play with your foods, there's a line in her lips that melts the wizard in mine. She blinks the nippled world away. I give the world too much. Fork more food in your mouth and keep your eyes shut. Be an empty-headed thing with shredded carrot hair. Now roll on into vegetable land where potatoes rule and peas shrivel when told to stack up like tennis balls on a Prince racket. Which one will tip the hill? This pea, that? Eat your meal. It's getting cold. You'll be hungry later. I'll chew my hair. Nipple. Just a few more. This one is titled The Night Prayer's Lord. If I should wake before I die, I'll be in a box. I'll be in the dark. I'll need a bell to ring. Oh, let me be Victorian. My breath on glass, the sweatstone in your hand. Help me out of this coffin. Don't let the woodworms in. Listen for the trapline going knock, knock, help, or I'll take that beam out of my eye by cracking the oak. Let second chance surge through me like a Greek chorus. Saggy skin, droopy eyelids, blue-veined hands, the nameless faces. I'll sail a boat. I'll learn how to fly. Reactivate adrenaline. Reap the sown seed. Make life fit into the tunnel I have left. Do all the things you don't do until the one day there's nothing to do inside this massive oven. My skin is my grave. Why should dying be news? The bug is in the matchbox, the shoebox holds the bird, the first grave is our backyard. And Mr. Death, the high grotesque, grins above. Aired in the room before the earthworm's dark, lidded and locked, my bones will be like the cut tree, no longer expanding its rings. Time skins me, and soon my bones will lose their marrow, but they're brave disintegrating, being change. No longer silvering their calcified purpose, they'll hollow themselves out for more sonority. and air will song through them as throats of birds. Margaret actually mentioned that she was going to share my story, so I was aware of that. You know, grief, of course, brought me to writing poetry, the death of my parents. I don't think I would have been a writer otherwise. I was studying psychology, and a different pathway took over when I lost them both. And it was through journaling and seeing a counselor that she suggested, why don't I write out my feelings? And the feelings turned into shape and form, and next thing I know, it was poetry. And so that journey has been the central journey for my life, my creative journey. And I have to say, too, I think this is the first reading I've ever had the exposure, so to speak, of having part of my health journey part of a poetry reading. And I'm certainly not holding back on that. But it sort of was put forward. So I imagine you're thinking, oh, wow, I am okay right now, and hopefully will be continuing to be okay, knock wood. And I know many of you probably have stories or are dealing with different things right now. But poetry is one of those things that brings us together and we can share. And of course, I appreciate all the open mics that I heard earlier, and I look forward to hearing Sue read, and it's lovely to be here. So thank you, Tree Team, because as somebody who helped run a reading series and still runs a reading series too, I know how much work goes into that, and also to the bookstore owners as well. It's lovely to be surrounded by books and by art, and thank you all for coming. But I'll just say, when I was writing this book, I wasn't diagnosed, and it was interesting to sort of, I was channeling these two poets, P.K. Page and Dorothy Malloy, and next thing you know, it was part of my journey just as this book was going to press. So anyway, it's just so you know, those weren't in my consciousness at that time. But this is the last poem in the book, and I'll read it now. Well, I'll share it now. I'm kind of doing it by rote, you may have noticed. There is a stir always. If I hold onto this body, the snow will grow inside me, and the winter of my cells will flake into tiny crystals like six-figured gods, each arrow tip attempting to make the point of something as tears flow. There is a stir always. I rise to the cold to take my place among the fragile stars and sleep. Thank you.